Hey guys, welcome to the latest episode of Ollie's Zoo. And today we're going to be going further into amphibians. Today we're going to be looking at fantasy frogs. And we're going to be looking at the fantasy frog kept here at Ollie's Zoo, and his name is Jabba. Now there's some confusion as to what a fantasy frog actually is sometimes. What they actually are is a hybrid animal, and they're a cross between an Argentinian horned frog and a Pac-Man frog. So these two animals that have been kept in the reptile hobby for the last number of years, they've been put together, they've bred, and the result is a hybrid animal, and it's known as a fantasy frog. And it gets its name so because it's a mix of these two gorgeous amphibians, and the colours that have emerged on the fantasy frog are stunning. And it's like a fantasy, so you know that's where the name comes from. Now I said yesterday in my Fire Belly Toad video how it's unwise really to handle amphibians as you would other animals, only in the event of a health check or transportation of the animals should you do it. And to do it safely, your hands should be wet, like the skin of an amphibian. Most people normally think of amphibians as being very wet. They're actually covered in a mucus which protects them from harmful bacteria. So what I've got is some dechlorinated tap water which I've left to sit overnight. I'm going to go ahead and just spray my hands so nice and wet, ready to handle Jabba. Here we go. Here he is. This is Jabba, my big bad fantasy frog. You can't really see the colours too much on him, just because he spends most of his time really hiding away in the soil of his enclosure. And they are ambush predators. They're this family of frogs, your Argentinian horned frogs, Pac-Man frogs, fantasy frogs, quite happy just to sit in a thick layer of soil and just wait for their food to come by, and then they'll take it, they'll emerge from the soil. And I mean, he might not look fast, but believe me, when he's hungry and he sets his eyes on his prey, that mouth opens quicker than you can blink. It's one of those things, you blink and you miss it. And I couldn't tell you how old he is, because he was, I'll just put him back in there. Couldn't tell you how old he is because he was an adult when I bought him, and that was about a year ago actually. They have voracious appetites on them, to the fantasy frogs. They'll eat crickets, locusts, mealworms, silkworms, waxworms. They'll even take rat pups and small mice, defrosted small mice, that type of thing, which of course contains a lot of calcium, which is a good nutrient for this animal to maintain its health and body size. Now he's a male. He's not as big as the females. The females, they can get really big. They can get to the size of small plates. But Jabba, he might put a bit more weight on, but he's pretty much fully grown. And they can potentially live till 10 years, you know. They're not particularly hard to look after. They'll take food as and when they want it. Sometimes they will starve themselves for months. Usually when they emerge from hibernation is when that happens. They'll go months without eating, and then all of a sudden, bam, they'll start eating again. They'll be taking those locusts and mealworms, that type of thing. So yeah, I think we'll leave it for today. Leave it there for today, guys. Apologise for these videos getting longer and longer. I wanted to try and do a shorter video today, really. And with the fantasy frogs, there's not a heck of a lot to say really about them. They are just quite happy just to sit there, as Jabba is doing now. I'll just get the camera and I can show you. You can see him there. He's all quite happily in tucked up there. So yeah, thanks again for the support on these videos. We're coming up to 700 views on all the videos in total, which, to say I've only been doing this for a week, I'm absolutely over the moon with. You know, it's vastly exceeded my expectations as this. So just keep watching the videos, keep liking them, sharing with your friends, and I'll keep making them. Thanks guys, see you later.